What's going on, everybody? It's Chris from Profoto, and today we're going to be actually talking about the tried and true Profoto B1x. It's one of those lights that doesn't get a lot of love because the B10 is just the newer light, but we're going to go through some reasons why the B1x is still a really killer flash, the reason that we still have it in our repertoire of lighting, and what it can do, and we'll show you what it can do, like just kind of put it through its paces. Nothing really elaborate as far as the shooting goes. We're just going to show you, how fast it is and talk about the ins and outs and what makes it special. So I'm going to go grab my B1x. I have it set up right now for the lights, but it's on a roller stand, so I can roll it. So let's do that. Let's get this bad boy over here. So, nice thing about the B1x, and the cool thing about it is this thing sets the kind of the stage for what is a portable flash these days. So before, in order to take a flash on location, you had to have some sort of gas generator or some sort of battery to plug your light into. The B1 changed that completely by going completely wireless, and that's what it was designed around. It's literally just a head with a battery that clips onto the side. So a lot of people ask too, what are the differences between like a B10 and a B1X? What is it about the B1X that makes it the B1X? And it really comes down to a couple of things. So there's some things that the B1X can do that some of our other flashes just can't. So first and foremost, battery capacity. When you're on location, one of the last things that you want to actually worry about is running out of juice. It's just if you don't have access to any sort of mains power, not having enough power sucks. And if you run out, then you're done with your flash right now. Not necessarily to say your shoot's done, but using your flash in that capacity is. So the really cool thing about the B1X is that you're going to get 325 full power flashes on a charge. So that's pretty nice. So if you compare it with the predecessor, is it predecessor? I don't even know if you compare it with the B10 Plus, for example, the 500 watt B10 version, you're only getting 200 flashes on a charge. So you have 125 additional that you would get out of a B1X that you're not going to get from something like that, which is really, really nice to have that extra juice in there. The other big thing is the robustness of a B1X is really, really nice. So I can tell you from experience, being on location and dropping my flash and picking it back up and it working flawlessly. It doesn't say that works all the time, but at least in my experience, the couple of times that I've dropped my B1, I've had some body damage. I know I've had to have a handle replaced once, and I had to have a back cover placed. I always seem to drop mine this way. It's probably because I'm a dummy and I don't put like a sandbag or something down for a big modifier. But I've picked them back up and I've kept rocking. On top of that, everything good?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get a cheeseburger, don't worry.
Gotcha. So you're so silly. But the other big thing is modifier. So where the B1X really, really rocks to in robustness is going to be in the size of the modifiers that you can use. So we have, big 5-foot octas. We have things like the 4x6 softbox, which I didn't break out because it's massive and I just didn't feel like breaking it out right now. It's a really big softbox. It's a beautiful light. But because of the design of the knuckle and the mounting system for it, it can handle the heavy weights of modifiers like that. So you. Oh, is it a little choppy?
Yeah,
oh, gotcha.
It's hot, so
gotcha.
I'm trying to cool it down.
Gotcha. It's a little mad. It's cashing fast. Cool. Sorry, I've stopped talking for a second. We're just kind of checking on the.
Make sure this thing's catching up to you guys.
Yeah. Does it look like it's trying to do something? Or is it pretty frozen over there?
Or frozen on people's screen.
Oh, that's a bummer. Let's see what's happening. This is crazy.
It keeps on happening.
Cool. Is it trying to catch up now? It's choppy.
Yeah, it's a choppy run here.
So apparently the switching system that we use has a problem with heat. So we actually have a cooling pack that we've started putting underneath it to stop this, and apparently we've
been running it today.
We're running it pretty hard, and it's mad. It's really mad. Or are we still, we're still caching up? You know what we're gonna do? We're just gonna keep, and we'll just post this bad boy up later if we have to, and we'll just keep recording. So we're just gonna keep rolling. So, yeah, so we'll just try to cool it down. So let's kind of get back to what we were talking about. So we were talking about robustness. So first and foremost, you know, these things can take a lot. They're meant to be used pieces of equipment. Like, you're supposed to take it out there. You're supposed to, you know, get it on location, get down and dirty. That's what makes this thing so dang special. On top of that, once again, mounting large modifiers to it, which is just a great option for when you want to recreate window light, for example. Once again, a 4x6 softbox. One of my favorite window light looks is to put a 4x6 softbox sideways, so it's 6 feet wide and 4 feet tall. And I like to stand right in front of it and just kind of let that light wrap everywhere. It's beautiful. And the design of the B1X can handle the weight of something like that. Whereas, you know, the B10 has a 2-part system set up inside of it where it's not really necessarily designed to hold super heavy modifiers. It's really supposed to be portable, super lightweight mods, really easy to break down and get in your bag. This thing can handle that kind of stuff. So the B1X is just a tank when it comes to stuff like that. On top of that, it's a really fast flash. So it started kind of setting the benchmarks of, especially with mono lights, talking about flash durations, recycle speeds and stuff like that. So at full power, you can get about 2 seconds on your recycle speed, which is pretty dynamite. To turn that power down, you're going to actually start getting faster and faster to the point where you can easily pulse 20 frames a second, which is dynamite with something like that, especially if you're trying to stop action, but also if the movement is fast enough that maybe you don't want to miss, like maybe the pinnacle of a jump or the exact moment when you want to actually capture the subject doing that movement. The nice thing is that you can just kind of run on your shutter and just let it fly. And for the most part, this is fun. Once you start getting up into like your, you know, like your 6s, 7s, 8s on your power outputs, it's going to be a little bit harder. It can definitely do multi-burst, but if you're just holding down like for an infinite amount of time on your button, most flashes are going to fail at that because it's just, at some point you can't recycle fast enough to give you what you need. So that is something to keep in mind. Really fast, super fast flash durations. And then I meant to say flash shutter speeds, but then get into flash duration. So I'm just getting ahead of myself. So your flash durations on this bad boy can go up to 1/19,000th of a second, which is crazy fast. So if you think about your shutter speed on your camera, most cameras can only go up to 1/8,000th of a second. Some of them can't even do that. Those are only going to be able to get up to, I don't know, there's some cameras out there that only go to 4,000. So to be able to get up to 1/19,000th of a second, you're easily doubling your shutter speed. So what you can do with high-speed sync, sometimes with super fast shutter speeds, you're going to be able to go even and push that envelope even farther by using freeze mode. And I'll show you how you can get into freeze mode on this bad boy. We're not going to dive super deep into how you control the unit, but we're just going to kind of talk about what makes it special. So one of the other really activity. So you have the ability still to plug in, you know, hard sync lines into this flash. You can plug in a different trigger if you'd like to, if you don't necessarily, or if you have like some backup triggers that with you in case something were to happen to like your air remote, you can still plug that in there, which is really dynamite. So you also have on the front, I'm going to take off this Magnum reflector, you have the flat front recessed flash tube that we do with a lot of our stuff. We go flat front with pretty much all of our stuff now just because of the amount of people who are taking it on location. It is just one way of ensuring that you're not out there, you know, shearing off your dome, shearing off your flash tube. It protects your flash way better. And then it also gives you a beautiful quality of light, which is really nice. But what's dope is with the B1X is you could easily take the glass plate off, just like that, and then you could attach this bad boy. So the dome diffuser. So what it's gonna do, let me put it in place really fast so I can not juggle it in the air and drop it, which I probably would do. So the nice thing about the dome diffuser is it's going to be able to fill up modifiers a little bit more. So the tube is still recessed, but because this is opaque, it can gather up a bunch of that light and throw it further out directionally to the side. So this is really, really good for, I think, for beauty dishes, especially if you're going to use the, like the OG metal beauty dish. With the OCF beauty dish, you can actually just kind of push it in a little bit closer to the flat front and get a lot of the same benefits that you would get with that beauty dish. So that's what you can do if you're an OCF beauty dish user. So, but you have the ability to change out your front plate. You can go to a warmer glass cover. So I think a minus 300 to minus 600 Kelvin. So it can actually warm the flash up some more if you'd like to. If you just and not worry about having to do it in post, you have that ability too, which is really, really cool. And all this stuff is linked up in the description, so you can go and click, and it has all the flavors, if you will, of this bad boy. But it's really, really it's really fast. It's insanely easy to use. The control system is laid out in a way that essentially, when you're thinking about using your B1X, I always tell people to think about it like this. You're either going to do a button press or you're going to do a button hold. That's how all you need to do to access the stuff inside of a B1, which is really, really cool. So, you power up the unit. So it has a power up and power down system to make sure you don't accidentally hit the button and turn your unit on or off. Turn it on the way to a shoot would be a bummer if you got there and it was dead, but it also helps you keep from bumping it and turning it off while you're maybe moving it around out in the world. So you hold it down, fire it up, cool. And then everything else, once again, you can either button press to turn your modeling lamp on or off, or if you want to access the different options in your modeling lamp, you just hold the button down. Hold it down for a short period of time, you can change the power output. Hold it down for a long period of time, you can change the mode. So it works that way with everything. So if I want to go to the sync thing, I can press the button to toggle that on and off. I can do a button hold to change what kind of syncing I want to do, whether I want to use the optical trigger or use air, or if I just want to turn that on and off. Really, really easy stuff. And then when you're in air mode, will allow you to change your channels and your groups. So, and once again, just turn the dial to change your groups. And then if you want to change your channel, you just press in and change your channel. Really easy stuff. So once again, everything is accessed with a button press or button hold. The interface is so ridiculously easily laid out. There's no menu to dive deep into anything to get anything. I think the most hidden thing on a B1X is how to get into freeze mode. And that's simple. You just hold down the center button and tap the power button. So once again, holds and presses. That's all it is. So then you have your power structure laid out here in the front. So you power up full power, then turn it all the way down. If you hold the button in, turn it back up and down, you're good to go there too as well. So, and then you have ready signals, all that good stuff. So once again, robustness, speed, ease of use. It's just really, really well-rounded flash. And something that I tell people all the time, Profoto flashes last a very long time. It's something that you shouldn't have to upgrade every single year. I know a lot of people really get into the idea of loving coming out with a new camera, and I want 1 more megapixel, or I want this other thing. And so, we come out with new flashes all the time. I mean, all the time, but we come out with new flashes. And when we do that, that doesn't mean that you need to trade in that one for the next one. By all means, if the new one does something that's mission critical to the way that you work, that the B1 doesn't, or your current flash doesn't, then that's when you would make that upgrade. But we build these things that last forever. So a B1, I know there's people, the B1 at this point is getting up close to, believe it or not, this year makes it 8 years old. It came out at the end of 2012, 2013. So there's people who have original B1s. The bad boys are humming. They're doing a great job. At some point in time, obviously, with anything lithium-ion battery-based, you're going to have to change out your lithium-ion battery. You can only put so many cycles on it before it just reaches the point where it just doesn't hold a charge like it used to anymore. This lithium-ion battery is not any different than any other lithium-ion battery. So that's the one thing you have to make sure that you're managing is that. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. So once again, speed, robustness, you have ease of use. I mean, goodness gracious, what else do you want? Super fast flash durations, really, really great light. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a couple of shots just to kind of show you what this thing can do. I know that I've been messing with my power, but if I am correct, I had my power set at 5 5.5 or 5.4. I'm gonna say 5.4. I'll just put it back right there and see what happens. But we're gonna take this, we're gonna fire it up, and we're going to take a couple shots and show you how fast it is. Once again, how quick it is to use this thing and all the great things that it does. I'm also going to take the dome back off because when you're using the OCF Magnum, which we're going to be using, it does better with a flat front because that's what it's designed around. So I'm going to put this glass plate back on the front of this B1X before I mount that Magnum reflector back up. Oh, it's right over there. Cool, perfect. You ready to rock, Kate?
I'm ready.
Sweet, let's do this.
Okay, so I'm going to swap you on to cam 3 if you can open up capture 1.
Oh yeah, let me get capture 1 rocking. Let's see, bop. Cool.
All right, sweet.
Capture 1 up. Sweet. So I've got the light. We're just doing a simple light setup today. Kind of one of my favorite light setups for whenever I'm shooting a white background, which is just this one. The B1X you're probably not going to be able to see. It's kind of off camera. I'm going to turn this on for just a second so I can see where this modeling lamp's hitting Kate.
All right.
So, oh, that would have been really bad. There we go. Get back into place really fast, Kate. Are you grabbing a? Yeah. So you're gonna do kind of something fitness inspired. So it's a little.
Swing kettlebell or something?
Yeah, that's fine. Something a little more explosive. But just so you kind of have an idea of where the lights are, because I know the wide shots definitely can't see this because it's right to the side of it. We're probably, what, 10 feet from you with this? Maybe 15 feet?
I would say more than 15.
We're like 10 to 15 feet away with the main light. The fill light that we're using through this big scrim is also probably 10 to 15 feet away. So it's a big space. The reason that we're doing that, just because people always like to know why you chose your light placement where you do it. I don't want to put extra lights on the white background, and I want the hardness of the light to be as crisp as I can. So backing the lights up makes them smaller relative to the subject, and also the inverse square law will make the light fall off slower. So I can light the background white and illuminate Kate at the same time. And then I just use this obviously to bring the contrast down of the shadows. So once again, it's kind of my favorite like go-to white background setup. But what we're really gonna be talking about with this is showing you how the flash durations are really, really good and how the frame rates are really, really good, even at a power level of like 5.5. So, and then you can see distance. My Capture 1 shows you what camera settings I'm at. I'm at f8, ISO 800, 1/250th of a second. I'm at ISO 800 just so I could get the power level of the flash down a little bit and bring the frame rates up.
Ready for me?
So I'm ready to rock. Okay. Stand up really fast. I just want to make sure that I have you in focus first. Perfect. Oh, yep, that's fast. All right, here we go. Let's just do maybe 2 swings and then we'll go. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Cool. I know I made you do 2.
You said 2.
I know, but I think I was pushing it pretty hard. So cool. So sweet. So we'll choose this frame as soon as it loads. Sorry, the camera's trying to load itself in here really fast. Cool. So the main thing that we're going to be looking for when we're looking, oh, you know what? I think I actually turned off freeze mode. We might have to do that again. We double check. No, I kept it on. We're good. So we were in freeze mode just because I wanted to take advantage of the faster flash durations. Where you're going to see more of that is going to be at the end of like the kettlebell, where the most speed is going to be on that. But even with things like Kate's hair, there's no motion blur there, which is nice. Let's see, we're at one of the higher levels as far as the power goes, where you start getting to a point where the flash duration isn't quite as fast as it could be, but we're right on the edge, and you can see it's still pretty dang sharp. I'm not seeing any motion blur. It looks pretty good to me. So you can even see Caitlin's claws, her talons. So it's because she's part raptor. Yeah, so there's that.
This is very true.
But super sharp. You know, we were pulsing. I think my Fujifilm, my X-T3 does, I want to say like 8 or 9 frames a second. It's not the fastest bird at the soiree. I'm pretty sure that's the saying. And
how many frames per second can it do at a maximal power and how many bursts?
So to max power, you know, if it's like 2.2 frames a second at full power, then you're getting 1 frame in that moment that you press the shutter speed. I mean, that's just what you're gonna get out of it. But once you turn the power down all the way, you should be able to get 20 frames a second, no problem. So it's a really fast flash. And once again, I was just shooting that with Kate, and we can see right here, I didn't drop any exposure. So here's where we started, bop, 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 bop. Maybe a little bit of a power flux right there, but nothing that I can't recover easily because it didn't blow anything out. But it had no problems with that. That was in that time, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It was like 11 frames, I think. Maybe I just counted 11 before I clicked the button. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 frames. I shot 10 frames with that pulse. So really, really fast. Really, really great. Hey, the cache caught back up. It cooled down.
Oh yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
Cool. I can jump back in here into the chat thing because I was afraid I was going to lose everybody. Apologize. Like I said, we have this weird thing where it gets a little spicy and it starts to slow down.
Take a picture of our unit.
Yeah.
It's
literally sitting on top of like
a frozen patty.
Yeah, like it's well, we have ice packs that we use.
It wasn't working as well.
Yeah, it wasn't working as well.
The hamburger's tried and true.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. We're cooking food with our equipment.
Yeah, well, we're at least thawing it.
Yeah, we're thawing it. So sweet, we're back. I like it. When will I understand groups and channels? Okay, you want to understand groups and channels? Let's do it like this. Your group or your channel is your entire photo shoot. Okay, that's all it is. If you want to control your photo, or if you want to trigger your photo shoot, the whole scene, that's your channel. You want to fire everything, that's your channel. Your groups are your individual lights. So you want to, that's essentially what you're doing. It's a grouping of a flash. So channel fires everything. It doesn't matter if there are 900 flashes on channel 1. If you press the button down, they all fire, okay? But if you have 300 on channel or group A, 300 on group B, and 300 on group C, and on group A, I bring the power up by a stop, then it's just the ones on group A are gonna go up a stop. So your groups are the individual lights within the whole world of the photo shoot, which is your channel. So channels first. So and you think of it like that whenever you're looking at a flash head, think of it like this. We'll try to go to a tighter shot. This might be a good way of thinking of it. So the whole thing, I'm going to try to get that glare out of it too. There we go. You know what? I actually might need to go closer just for the words. I might be too close, but we'll see what happens. Hold on a second. I'm coming. Is that fine? It's probably fine.
Good. Yeah.
Cool. So in the whole world of your, think of it in like reading a book, left to right. The first thing is the whole shoot, the whole scene, and that's one. That's your channel, okay, cool? That's what's gonna make everything fire. And then your group is literally just what's being controlled. So if you need to control if you need to control this light, you put it on A. If you need to control this light, you put it on B. And the rest of it will all be done through the channel system. It's probably a terrible explanation, but hopefully it works. I've explained it different ways in the past, but honestly, I'm such a dope that I've already forgotten how I used to explain it when I did trade show stuff. So, but cool. Hey everybody. And Davor, if you have any, if you need to just chat some more about groups and channels, let me know, dude. I'll talk about it some more. We can do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, someone wants to know what the numbers on the side of the unit are used for. Done. Sure. So it's our zoom scale. So I'm glad that I put the flash up here just to, I'm just working the pedometer. So cool. So right on. So here we go. Oh, numbers on the side. So the numbers on the side coincide with some of our older our older hard reflectors. So something like, let's go wide zoom. If I can get it off the wall. Come on, there we go. So the wide zoom reflector has this sticker on the side of it. some of our older reflectors. I'm trying to see if I can get to a place where you can see this. There we go. So it's got this sticker on it. And on here, it shows you a position number and it shows you a beam angle. So what those numbers correspond to are the position numbers that these stickers tell you that you're going to get that beam angle out of. So with the wide zoom, for example, if you go to a position level of 10, which you would need a pro head for because that's the one that goes to 10, I'm not going to break that out right now. The pro head goes to 10, the Ds and the B1s, they kind of stop at 8. But you would go to a position level of 10, and then that would give you 72-degree beam spread on the reflector. And then if you moved it to a position of 6, it would give you a 48-degree beam spread on the reflector. So it really just comes down to letting you know how it's throwing the light. So, and that's what the numbers are used for on the side. With a lot of the newer things like the OCF Magnum, the OCF Zoom, because the collar isn't as long as the collar on, say, like the older original Magnum, you can actually start to utilize a lot more of the flash sooner. The only downside is it doesn't really leave a lot of room for a ton of information on it as far as a sticker goes there. But you have way more places to place the flash, like position level of like 1 and 2, which is what you'll see on like a lot of the B1s and or not the B1s, the B10s now, because of the shorter collar, we actually have the hash marks there for that. So that's just all it's made for. It's just to give you the ability to know what you're getting at what zoom position. Cool. Hopefully that explained that. Had a hot toddy with that ATEM there, man. I didn't get happy. We're just gonna have to break out
Those cheeseburgers cooled it.
We're just gonna have to break out the lunch meat. Just have to break out the lunch meat for every shoot. Can multiple photographers simultaneously shoot with it if they use the same channel? Yes, absolutely yes. So the only pitfall that you could run into is if one photographer is using high-speed sync and the other photographer is not using high-speed sync. It can put the flash into high-speed sync mode and they'll get mad. So the only camera system that kind of thwarts this is the Sony system, and that's because the Sony system doesn't tell our air remote to go into high-speed sync until the moment you press the shutter speed. So like if you have the TTL air remote on top of a Sony, it won't say high-speed sync until the moment you press the button, and then it jumps back over into first curtain sync when you're done. So that one, you don't have that issue just because it jumps back and forth, but yes, multiple people can use the same light at the same time. It's one of the reasons that people love using our stuff at weddings, because you can have the first shooter and the second shooter running around roughly the same settings, or a lot of times they're going to use the same settings because they're trying to match the different camera for the different perspectives to go cohesively with the rest of the wedding. So you have the same settings and you just fire off back and forth. It's actually, the cool thing too is the recycle speed on these flashes is fast enough too that, especially when you're indoors and you don't need the power pumped way up, you can go pop pop and get like simultaneous flashes. So like if Kate and I were shooting, for example, and we both hit the trigger roughly at the same time, we should both get an exposure, like a proper exposure, because they're fast enough. So let's see. So Devore, so on the TTL remotes, there's only 3 groups shown, but in the world of Profoto, there's 6 groups. So if you had one of the older air remotes, I think I have mine right here.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. We have a whole bunch of stuff broken out because we weren't sure what we were going to use to highlight some of the speed. But here we go. It was right here. So if you look at one of the older air remotes, the original OG air remote, you actually have 6 groups down here: A, B, C, D, E, and F. So you still have those D, E, and F groups that you can fire. So they will, if you set like your B1 to group D, E, or F, it'll still fire whenever you press the button for channel 1. You're just not going to have the power up and down control that you would get with the older air remote. The upside to the reason that D, E, and F exists is because in our system, D, E, and F are manual only groups. So say we're shooting the same setup right here, right? Or maybe we had Caitlin doing like a jump, or she was doing some sort of like ballet movement. And she's going to move closer to the light and further away from the light. Just things are going to change. I would want to keep my main light possibly on TTL, because that way if she gets closer to the light or further away from the light, the flash can compensate up and down for that power. But maybe we're shooting something a little higher key and the background needs to stay white, and I don't want that to change at all because the background's not moving. What you can do is you can set your background lights to group D, E, or F, and they will always stay the same power output, even though group A is constantly changing because your subject is getting closer or further away from the flash. So hopefully that makes sense. So groups D, E, and F are manual only. Your groups A, B, and C can do TTL and manual, and that is controlled at the air remote. So in the Profoto world, the thing that's touching the hot shoe of the camera, that's the boss. That's what gives the commands. So sweet. Numbers related to the beauty dish have no bearing, especially with the metal beauty dish, because it's got a metal stopper plate inside of it. So you can't push it past a certain point with the original metal beauty dish because it stops it at a certain plate. So that one doesn't matter. With the OCF beauty dish, I don't have one broken out here to talk about it, so I don't really know. But you want to kind of push it to the head. It's like this far away from the deflector plate. I know that doesn't really, like 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches away, but there's no real zoom for the beauty dish. Cool, let's see. Can't believe that never occurred to me. It happens. I'm actually surprised I was able to explain it in a way that made sense, because I'm kind of silly. We have 2 A1s, and when my partner and I are photographing at the same time, my flash will trigger his on his camera, and his flash will do the same one as well. Okay, cool. So what you need to do is we put out this firmware maybe like a year ago. Go into the air portion of your A1, and then there's an option in there that says air transmit only. And so when you put that on top of your camera and put it to transmit only, that one will only fire an air signal, it won't receive it. So both you and your partner need to go into the air setting, transmit only, and then you won't have any issues with your flashes firing off of each other. Sweet, so hopefully that was cool. So let's kind of break down, let's have a quick little breakdown once again over what it is that makes the B1X so friggin' rad. Especially since we had a little choppiness in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, things got squirrely, but we're here and we made it through. So speed, huge portion of what makes the B1X fantastic. So you're talking about flash durations up to 1/19,000th of a second. Really, really fast. More than enough speed to freeze most action, which is nice. On top of that, you also have the ability to go into high-speed sync. So you can use high-speed sync as a way of stopping action as well. Depending on how fast that action is, it's better. Freeze mode is more superior at stopping action than high-speed sync is, but that's not to say that you can't stop action with high-speed sync. It does a pretty good job. It just, once again, once you start getting too fast, you want to make sure you're using that freeze mode. So up to 1/19,000th of a second flash durations on this thing, and you can pulse up to 20 frames a second, which is great because, once again, you saw just a second ago when we were photographing Kate with the kettlebell. During that swing movement, I may miss the pinnacle of the swing and I don't get what I want. So I can just put my camera into a continuous high or a continuous low mode, depending on how you want to operate, and then just fire it off. Because I was at a power level, I think 5.5, 5.4. So it's at a power level of 5.4. It's easy to get those recycle speeds because once you start powering down, even at full power, this thing's gonna give you 2.5 seconds on the recycle speed. So once you start to power down, it's just gonna speed up exponentially. So I got 10 frames in that moment that I squeezed the trigger off, which is great, and perfect exposures all the way through. So that leads us into the ease of use portion of it. So you have speed, which is dynamite. You have ease of use. So everything is laid out. Button press or button hold. This is going to be the best way of remembering how to get around your B1 or B1X. So whatever you want to get to, if you want to turn something on or off, button press. If you want to access a different portion of that option, button hold. So if, like modeling lamp, if I want to get to free mode, I just hold it down. If I want to get to proportional, I just hold it down. So it's as simple as that. And it works that way throughout the entire flash. So ease of use, a button for a button, really, really easily laid out information. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that. It's a great flash. The thing is crazy robust. I'm pointing the light directly at my face. It's awesome. So incredibly robust. It can handle much heavier modifiers than your, usual suspects. So a B10 or a B10 Plus, they can handle up to 4-foot modifiers. They can do a 1x4 strip, 4-foot octa, 3x4 softbox. So that's kind of where those things are going to shine there. This thing can handle much more weight than that. So I was saying this earlier, but one of my favorite kind of setups for a natural looking window light shot is to put a 4x6 softbox onto this bad boy and turn it sideways, and then that way I can, you know, get all that nice wrap, and this thing can handle the weight of that 4x6, which is absolutely huge, absolutely huge. So and then it can fill up that 4x6 too, because the thing's crazy powerful. You're talking about 500 watt seconds of power, so tons of juice to do pretty much whatever you want to do, and then you have light shaping options on top of that. They can amp that up. Like you could go with an OCF Magnum reflector, and you're talking about taking a 500 watt really powerful flash up to the next level to up, you know, effectively 2,000 watts of power, which is dynamite. So you have, once again, ease of use, you have the power that you get with this bad boy, you have the robustness that comes with something that can just absolutely take a beating, that's meant to be used, a flash that's meant to go out and do whatever it is that you want to do, minus putting it inside of water. I don't do that one. That I don't recommend. But something that's meant to be used and can stand the test of time. So you're talking ease of use, robust, powerful, and just absolutely fast. So 20 frames a second, 1/19,000th of a second flash duration, really good stuff. So, and that's one of the things, that's what makes the B1X the B1X. You know, it's the Mac Daddy, it's the bee's knees, it's the one that started it all, and it still absolutely kicks butt. There's no denying that. So hopefully that was cool. I'm gonna see if y'all have any more information or any more questions before I hang it up for the day, because I gotta turn this thing off at some point. So I hear you want to see this, the information on the thing. You never know what the future holds, but it's something that we know that people really, really want. I think a lot of times it just takes, because the system wasn't designed to send that information back. The original Air Remote doesn't have a screen. You know, we hear all the things that people are wanting from us, and we're always trying to figure out if there's some way that we can utilize what we have. So, but once again, I'll just tell the powers that be that that's one of the really, really important things. I send all that stuff up the letter. So, you have an affection for your B10s, but you love your 1X. It's a great flash. I beat the heck out of them. Why mentioning TO5 doesn't make sense in my, because that's the number that I have, man. I have a TO5 number of 1/19,000th of a second. Divide it by 3, and you're right around your TO1 number. So, or your T1 number. So just do a little bit of math, and you'll be super happy. Cool. Awesome. Oh, sweet. You got the thing. Cool. Well, thank you all so much. I hope this was really, really fun. Once again, kind of just breaking down what makes the B1X so dang cool. Once again, we'll do it again. Robust, handles big modifiers, can stand the test of time. It's really, really fast. You know, 20 frames a second shooting, 1/19,000th of a second TO5 times. You have 500 watt seconds of juice in a box that's really, really easy to use. So at the end of the day, it's just a dynamite flash. So thank you all so much for your time. We will see you next week. Peace out.